In 1630s, a newly imported flower called tulip triggered a real tulip mania in the Netherlands, and that's the story behind it. It's widely spread as a first financial bubble because the prices of one single bulb of tulip skyrocketed. But in fact, the new studies showing that it wasn't that much a big drama. The tulip is considered to be a Turkish flower, or the flower that comes from Middle East. Its name comes from the Turkish word tulbent. The Ottoman loved it so much that called the entire era after it. But once this flower traveled to a completely different part of the world, the Netherlands, and created the crisis where people sold their houses to buy at least one bulb. At the beginning of the 16th century, an ambassador from the court of the Suleiman the Magnificent brought tulips to Europe. That time it was firstly grown in the Netherlands, and people were shocked because they had never seen such a beauty. Everyone wanted to have this flower. That was Dutch Golden Age, and people were searching for the way to show off, to say that, hey, I have money, I'm rich, and this flower was the best thing to show it. These bulbs weren't cheap. At the start, they cost a pretty penny. Here is the first collocation. But one type drove people crazy because it combined flame-like streaks and it had white and red colors. I will attach the photo and the name of this type. So people didn't understand why it happened like that the flower colored in that way, but after that they figured out it was a simple virus. At that time it didn't matter. People were crazy. They wanted it so bad. But for Dutch, it was the most beautiful flower. It worth its weight in gold. And this is the second collocation. So this type of flower worth a keen ransom, more than average person would earn in their life, in their entire life. Can you imagine how expensive it was? Then something changed. People started to buy this flower simply to plant it and after that to resell. So it was the beginning of the crisis. So soon bulbs were trading on paper contracts. People continued to buy it, resell it, plant and make money. One tulip could cost a fortune. Some people say that it was equal to one house in Amsterdam, one bridge house in Amsterdam, fully furnished. Tulips cost arm and leg, and people were ready to buy it. They mortgaged, they sold everything just to have this tulip. They believed that the price would never fall, but we know what happens in such situations, right? Sellers named ridiculous prices, and still buyers paid through the nose. And this is next collocation. Looking back, the prices were absurd. One single bubble for a price of the house, that's nonsense. And it was the daylight robbery. So let's get back to the winter 1637. It was February. A routine bulb auction in the city of Haarlem. The sellers were ready, but no one came to buy new portion of bulbs. That's the end of the story. If there is no one buying, the price is going down. Everyone rushed to sell their flowers, but there were no buyers left. The wind trade has blown away. Does it sound familiar for you? I believe yes, for me at least. But there is an interesting thing I would like to mention, a small twist that changes the whole story. One scientist, Anna Goldgar, showed an interesting thing, that it wasn't that much widely spread among the whole country. only a few people suffered from this tulip mania, and it wasn't that much massive as people trying to show. The story of mass bankruptcy was a little bit exaggerated, and in fact it wasn't that awful as it sounded. But still, even 400 years later, we're still arguing, is it true or not?